are at PANGEA, and this is If These Walls Could Talk with your host, Tym Moss.
And Wendy Stuart.
Yes.
How is everybody today on this beautiful Wednesday? Oh my God.
It's so gorgeous out there today.
It's so gorgeous. And we're inside. I'm losing my mind. Well, how was your week, Tim? Tim had a big birthday week.
I did. Yes, my 60th birthday was yesterday.
Yay! Happy
a whole
birthday.
New decade coming on. I'm so excited.
Bring it on. Did you do anything special for your birthday?
Well, yes. Actually, I went to my doctor and I got 2 knee injections.
I'm so excited. I can't think of anything better than you.
Welcome to the 60s.
It's so fabulous. 60 is a new fierce, you know.
Yes, but I have to tell you, my doctor, he gives this injection. It's not cortisone. It's like it's taken from the rooster, that red thing
his comb.
His comb.
The
rooster's comb. The rooster's comb. And it's some type of gel from that. And then they inject it in the knees and it helps with the arthritis. You know, it gives a cushion there. So my doctor, who's also gay, whenever I get these, I walk in and I always say, I'm ready for you to inject me with your cock juice.
How nice.
and then he laughs, gets on his knees and injects me.
And here you are sitting right next to me, feeling all big and proud like a rooster because you have extra cock juice. All right, moving right along on that note.
But I did go out yesterday. I had a lovely birthday and went out to New Jersey to my friends Lois and Doug and had a wonderful dinner that they prepared. But the night before, my friend Nathan James.
Oh yeah, I love Nathan James.
He came in from Philadelphia just to take me out to dinner, which is so sweet.
What a guy, and a really incredible journalist. And
yes,
we just love him to
absolutely.
death.
And he's got a lot of exciting projects coming up.
Does he really? Yay for Nathan James. Well, I had something really great happen this week. I did an interview with Chris Tanner, the artist. Oh my God. And I've always loved Chris's work. He does beautiful embellishments with semi-precious stones and stones. It's very glitzy, big pieces. But this was an exhibit at Artists Equity Gallery, and it's on Broome Street. And I have to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, he blew me away because the key thing in this exhibit, Chris has taken driftwood, right? Now, I love driftwood, but who would think, how could anyone come up with an idea to embellish the driftwood with his style, the semi-precious stones?
Wow.
And yeah, the light and the energy that came from those pieces. So the show, I believe, is on till the end of the 3rd week in May. You can go to Chris Tanner's page, christanner.com. He has a website. Please definitely check it out and get down to the Artist Equity Gallery. The show is called, what is the show called?
I don't know.
I was going to say Rhapsody, but that's not it. I can't remember.
I'm not sure.
I have too many things on the brain. I'm sorry, he threw me off with the cock juice. That just threw me off.
It's all about the cock juice.
It is.
But firstly, we're coming to you from PANGEA in the East Village. It's on 2nd Avenue between 11th and 12th. They have been so supportive of the arts over the years. And now during this pandemic, it's our turn as artists to be supportive of them. And there is a website for their GoFundMe page, which is right down here, down below
you got
there.
It right there. Thank you,
so
Johnson.
Please, we would love for you to make a donation, just any donation to help them out and get through this.
And come down for dinner. They have live entertainment on Friday night, brunch now, which has been added in. That's on Sunday. Really great food. And it's a really delightful, dining experience on so many levels. So come down, support them. They've supported us.
Absolutely. And today we have a special surprise. We're doing something we've never done.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
On our show.
This is like we're virgins doing this. So
I get to be a virgin again.
First time ever for him. But today we have an amazing author. She wrote the book, Growing Up Bank Street. Donna Florio is a real hardcore New Yorker. Grew up in Greenwich.
Amazing.
As we call it, the Village, but in the day, Greenwich Village, right? The home of Bohemia.
Yeah.
She has stories about Auntie Mame, Sid Vicious, communism, the FBI. I mean, it literally runs the gamut. And when she was 4 years old, she was in Madame Butterfly. Wait till you hear her story. So without further ado, meet Donna Florio. Come on, Donna. This is just great. I love this. We're all here together. Look at this.
Hi.
Oh, I'm excited.
Hi. How are you.
I'm wonderful. How are
Oh
you?
my God! We're
We're
so happy to have you here. We can't even get over ourselves. We're all double vaxxed, by the way.
Yes.
Totally clean.
Which is why we
Clean,
thought
clean,
we
clean.
could try this. So
Actually,
welcome.
this is the first time we've had a live guest here with us, joining us at PANGEA. So
That's right.
I'm alive.
You're alive.
you
Right.
popped our cherries.
Well, baby.
Oh my God.
What can I say?
The things that Tim Moss
What a
said.
day. We're gonna have
So, Donna Florio.
Oh my God.
Okay, first of all, I love that you had many reviews, but I love Graydon Carter's review. Absolutely delightful about one of New York's storied blocks, Bank Street.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to start out with a real general one. After all of this time, what made you decide to write this book?
Oh, what didn't? Okay, well, first of all, growing up on Bank Street, I didn't know my neighbors who were gay, who were the real anti-MAME, who were communists running spy cabals out of the apartment
Love it.
downstairs, the retired vaudeville dance. I didn't know they were different. I had to
Mhm.
leave. I had to leave and then meet America. You know, going
Right.
to Greenwich Village, it's like talking
Tim
about
comes from there.
popping your cherry. It's like,
Yeah.
oh my God,
Right.
this is America. And so when I came home from college, I started to realize, my God, I don't live in America. I wasn't born and raised in
Yeah,
America.
right.
Right.
My parents weren't Americans. Okay. So right away, I knew I had a lot of stories to tell that were unique. And then I'll tell you what did happen. I was downtown on 9/11, and just to cut to the chase, I
Yes.
saw too much.
Mm.
And I was basically stuck in my house trying to recover from that
Got
for
it.
about a year
Goodness.
and a half. I wanted to get out of my own head. So I thought, you know
Ah.
what? I'm going to start writing about
Right.
the neighbors.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I want to be in their lives. I didn't want to be in mine at that point.
I
wanna be in
I
theirs.
love you saying that, right? What a great way to like reach out. And also these stories were in you, and I'm sure you probably had no idea what to do with them. It was enlightening. You were in college, and then you find out like the freak show that you grow up in. And I don't mean that derogatory.
Talking about my mother like that.
I don't mean that derogatory in any way, shape, or
You met
form.
my
But
parents.
you know what? I read the book and I read a lot of your reviews, and I'm like, God damn it! Tim and I wanted to have you on the show for
Mhm.
that reason. You are the real deal. And if
Yeah.
people like you do not get out there and tell these stories of these people, New York is disappearing quicker than any of us care to count. So, girl, you made a mark by doing this book.
Yes.
I put it out there.
Just a couple things.
Yeah.
One is you took the 9/11, you took the horrible situation and decided to make art from it.
Right.
Like,
Right.
take that
I did.
time and do something positive with it, which I admire so
Thank
much.
you.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
very much.
I think of it as spinning the straw into gold.
Yes.
Yes, right.
Really,
right,
that was
right.
what I was doing.
You did
writing
it,
my
you
way
know?
out of it.
Wow.
Yeah. And the other was, again, I can't imagine, because perception is everything in our lives. And
Yeah.
we don't know something until it's compared to something else. And growing up in your normal life and then going to college
Mhm, mhm.
and being exposed for the first time to other kids and their experiences and
Right.
perceptions. That had to have been such an amazing
Mind-blowing.
wake-up
Yeah.
call
Blew my mind.
that
Mind-blowing,
like
really.
that what were a couple of things that you observed in them that did not apply to your
that
life?
didn't jive with you. What didn't jive so much with you? That's a good question.
Yeah, what did
What-
jive?
Yeah, right.
What did jive, okay? So to begin with, my mother was an opera soprano. So, my mother would come home from a rehearsal at the Metropolitan Opera if she was doing, let's say, Turandot, okay? She had white makeup, yellow on top of it. Her real eyebrows were gone. Her eyebrows were up like this.
All of our
okay?
drag friends look like
And-
that. So your mother was ahead of her
My
time.
mother was
She was
so
ahead of her time.
way, decades. The bright red lips.
Love
So
it.
she would come
And
home like on the
she would
subway
come
like
home
this?
on the subway like
I
this
love
with her
it.
big sunglasses,
I love it.
because she was also a good Italian mama who wanted to make sure I had
Right.
dinner.
I was just
So,
going to say, she walks in and
know.
goes, "Did you do your homework?"
Right? Oh,
And then-
yeah. Check. Absolutely.
That's
Did you do your
great.
homework? It's like Madam Chiang Kai-shek. It's like, where's your geometry?
Right.
But But, you know, then she'd sit at the piano and she'd be rehearsing. And I'd bring little friends home and they were used to her because she'd go, hi, with this big kabuki.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it was so like totally normal.
Want some cookies, you know? So, and then she'd go back to, woo, you know, she'd go right back to what she was doing.
I love it.
Well, that didn't happen in, I don't know, Boston,
right?
Virginia.
Yeah, you went to school in Boston, right? Yeah.
No,
well, you brought up something here. Theatrical mom. Your dad was a director too. So, two theatrical parents. Tim said it. Creatives, you know.
Yes.
But they were just your parents. You know.
Well, even in New York, I'd say
that were out there.
I had a 5th grade birthday party, and my father, who, yes, he liked his Manhattans, we will admit that, but he decided to entertain me and my little friends by doing an imitation of Tommy Tucker from Tuckahoe, raising money for his hernia operation by tap dancing and singing "Way Down Upon the Swan."
Oh, God.
And there's Dad tap dancing, hanging
God
on to
bless
himself,
him. I love it.
singing "Way Down on the Swan."
Love it.
I love your life so much.
I didn't love at that moment. I did not love my father or my life at that moment.
Right. You just wanted to crawl away.
So even my parents went over the New York line.
Right. But you know, Donna, your neighbors, I read the book and it was like each one eccentric, colorful. You could do an actual full-length play about each person that she talks about.
Oh, they all deserve it. They all deserve it. I mean, you know, the elderly Shakespearean actor, Mr. Benson, downstairs, who had finished the New York Times crossword puzzle in an hour. He spoke 6 languages. He had done, by the time he was about 30, he'd been in something like 23 plays on Broadway, Shakespeare.
Wow.
He would just get the paper and he would go put it down on our radiator, which was our book swap. And the only problem was he was in his 80s. He never wore any clothes.
Okay.
I mean,
naked out
He just walked down
in his
purpose. Like a nudist
absolutely.
or
I mean,
top
trust
to
me.
bottom.
I was a little girl. I'm looking up. Trust me. Trust me. Okay, you talk about your doctor.
Yeah, really?
Woo, Mr. Benson.
Tim, don't laugh so hard. It could happen to any one of us. He just, no filter, no boundary, creative person,
He was very erudite. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
He could discuss anything.
He was brilliant. I got that feeling that he was.
Except fashion.
Why bother? Let's say that to yourself. Right. Why bother with fashion?
You're right.
So he was, and then there was Tish.
Oh, Tish, my wonderful Tish. Yeah, Tish was on the corner. Tish Touchette moved.
Hold on a minute. Tish Touchette.
Yes.
What else?
Fabulous.
I love that. Fabulous.
Tish invented fabulous. Okay.
I love it.
When the Pilgrims landed, Tish was already there.
Welcome.
Feed you here. The hors d'oeuvres are ready.
Now, Tish in those days would have been considered a female impersonator. Is that the terminology
that was the term
we
he used?
Yeah.
I arrived on Bank Street in 55, being born. He arrived in 57, being fabulous. And
you were just born. He was fabulous.
He had a female impersonation act. And what I remember is my mother, the soprano, coming home from the dry cleaner going, Tish has hand sequin dresses. I don't have kind of sequin dresses. Tish has fur trim on his collar. I don't have fur on mine. So
Tish, everybody was envious of Tish.
Tish was gorgeous in the book, and I think today we have some pictures of Tish, like just a beautiful silhouette of a body, long neck, and those gowns on that body were absolutely couture.
But how progressive?
Yes.
In the 50s, to be openly out and in public. That's amazing.
He didn't care what anybody thought. Tish was Tish. And I'll tell you, he left us just 3 months ago in his mid-90s. And he was fabulous to the end. He had better legs than all of us.
Right to the end.
Still envious of Tish.
You got better legs than I do.
Good pair of dams. Right to the end. You know what? Listening to you talk, Donna, and I think this really brings out what Bank Street is. Bank Street is a conglomeration of it's New York, and it's what a lot of New York used to be.
Yeah,
there's a terminology they use for that, bohemian. It was definitely very bohemian, and people ask what that is. To me, that word is not only just colorful, over-the-top personalities, but in those days, like you said, Tim, in the 50s, there was an incredible tolerance here for that. That is why people still come to New York, you know, because all of these places that they didn't fit. Children who are born of the world, not of the town, come to New York, you know, because they can do and be, and if they can make it here, they can make it anywhere.
That's absolutely right.
Now, we've been mentioning about Bank Street. Can we, the name of the book is
Growing Up Bank Street.
Growing Up Bank Street by our fabulous guest,
Here I am.
Donna Florio, who's here with us at PANGEA. And now Bank Street, let's just, for some of the viewers, let's clarify Bank Street. It's really a short street. It's really not that long in the village, in Greenwich Village here in New York City, in the downtown area. But going further down is you get down into like the South Street Seaport, the court systems, all of that. So can you explain a little bit of the history of Bank Street or how they named it Bank Street?
Absolutely. What happened was that the original British colony, well, it had been Dutch, it was now British, was at Wall Street, which is to say about 3 miles south of what later became Bank Street, down the Hudson. Okay, and does this sound familiar or what? They had epidemics. They had yellow fever.
Of course,
they swept through the colonies. The colonies did what? They closed businesses. They quarantined everyone.
Lockdown.
And who didn't like it? Alexander Hamilton, because he just started his Bank of New York. So they closed his bank. Alexander was no, beta personality himself. He said, to hell with this. So he went shopping for land. And he went up to what was then a sleepy little village of Greenwich, and he bought a couple of lots of land. And he built America's first ATM branch. Okay.
I never know. I love that.
America's first branch.
Great piece of trivia here.
And that was a beautiful mansion, and that was later torn down and now became brownstones that are still gorgeous.
Yeah, they're gorgeous.
But that is how Bank Street started. It's just
six
little blocks.
It's a 6-block radius.
They named it Bank because of Alexander Hamilton's bank.
Isn't that that's a cool story? And the perimeters of Bank Street are from
Greenwich Avenue to the Hudson River.
Right.
Straight west to the Hudson.
Wow.
And it has... What I love about it, I love a lot of things, but what I love about it is that one end of it is very elegant. We never lost our Bank of New York. Excuse us. And we have our movie stars and our hedge fund managers and all our wonderful people. And then when I was born, it just got more on the other end. It was roving packs of hookers and truckers and everybody. And the Wild West. So if you wanted drugs,
New York.
If you wanted sex, or if you wanted to get mugged, you could do all of that.
Yeah,
you
on Bank Street.
On
whatever floats your boat.
Or if you wanted to buy a hedge fund.
Yes.
One-stop shopping. That's what I call it.
We had it all. And then the rest of us were in the middle. The rest of us were just in the middle of it.
That is life on one street. That is such a range of life.
Right. Isn't it incredible? But that's New York, right?
Yeah.
And then, of course, Bank Street attracted, you have stories, Auntie Mame, the original. Auntie Mame.
The real one.
One of my favorite plays was written, or it was written about one of the people that lived near you. Correct?
You mean about Auntie Mame?
Yes, Auntie Mame.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite shows, one of my favorite plays.
Yeah, it was the real one.
But it was right. The real Auntie Mame lived there. That's where they based the story off of.
What happened was I arrived in 55, and in 1955, a man named Patrick writing is Patrick Dennis, but whose name was Edward Everett Tanner III.
The third.
Yes, the third.
I love it.
A Rochester, New York socialite, Buffalo.
So he was on that end of Bank Street.
No, he wasn't on any end.
You've already placed him.
He was on no end.
Oh, okay.
But he wrote Auntie Mame, and that became an international bestseller. It became a Broadway play with Rosie Russell.
Yeah,
and then in short order, they flew Roz out to Hollywood, and she did a movie.
Right.
Yeah, which I love.
Patrick Dennis, whose real name was Tanner, had a real aunt named Marion Tanner. and she lived across the street from us at 72 Bank Street. She had moved there in the 1920s as a flapper, as a wealthy flapper, right out of Smith College.
Oh, my daughter went to Smith.
Okay, well, there you go.
Believe me, by the time she got there wasn't a flapper to be had.
She flapped. She flapped.
I love flappers.
She was an actress. She was a labor mediator, and she held artistic soirees. She had a grand piano in her parlor. George Gershwin would play.
Oh my
Ethel Barrymore and her brothers would come.
Wow.
Okay, she was an artiste.
Gorgeous.
But then in the 30s, she converted to Buddhism.
Mm-hmm.
And she decided that her real purpose in the world was to save the world one soul at a time.
I love, you know what? I love that. More power to her.
Oh,
amazing.
More power.
Yeah.
She
Incredible.
broke the blocks. She owned the whole brownstone. I mean, it's gorgeous, elegant brownstone. She broke the locks. Anyone was welcome in at any hour
that is so
of the
incredible.
day or
wow,
night,
generosity
okay?
like that.
So that was her life. By the time I arrived in 1955, there were at any given time, at least 30, maybe 40 people living there. Okay. Most of them were mentally fragile. They were on drugs. They were alcoholics. They were just lost souls.
I mean, that's a true human being.
And
oh my God,
she
true
did
humanitarian,
two
right?
Yeah. She did two things all day long. One was she practiced yoga. Let me tell you, she could do a split in a minute.
Downward dog like nobody's business.
Knew it. And she cooked soups all day for her crowd. Okay.
Yeah.
But she took them in, and when Patrick Tanner got his book going, he started giving her money.
Oh,
he was
this is a great story.
Yeah. But he wanted her. He was actually, a stalwart Yankee from a good family. He was saying, you can't have all these people here. They're wrecking.
She did.
She did, and she refused to say no. Okay. So by the time I came on the scene, my parents decided, bless my parents, that she would be the perfect babysitter.
Oh God, that's great.
So she was my babysitter.
Oh,
so I would go in there, and there were these people going, "Oh, he never should have. He never. Oh, hi, Donna. Just go by. And but my parents were right. Because she had a heart of gold.
Yeah.
And look what you were exposed to as well. Exactly. I mean, that's why you are the person that you are.
She braided my hair, and she'd say, as she was braiding, she'd say, Donna, you are a divine flame from the universe.
A divine.
You are a piece
oh my
of
God.
So beautiful. And you are.
Human being. And she made me understand that. It was amazing. So.
Yeah, because I love it. In one interview that I had read, you were saying like you would walk into this room and there might be like a child asleep underneath the piano.
Three adults underneath.
Yeah.
Adults all cuddling.
Right.
You think we're tight? You should have seen them. Yes. Oh yeah, sleeping under the piano. They'd be sleeping. Sometimes there was literally no place to lie down. They would go stick their heads in the coat closets. And with their legs coming out, so at least they had some dark. They try to close the door.
Right, just to make it dark for themselves.
And she would just be making soup and doing yoga.
I love it.
And just stepping over the feet that are hanging out of the closet.
It was all
That's
good.
Amazing.
So how old were you when she was your babysitter?
I was from the time I cannot remember not being in her home. So maybe 2, 3, 4 years old.
So you were growing up with her as your babysitter, and then all of a sudden you were in the opera.
Oh, at the same time. At the same time, my parents didn't believe it. If you had a kid, you had a prop. Okay? You're a prop.
I think you had smart parents.
I'm a prop.
Yeah.
You could bring, your mother, the soprano, can bring her real baby.
Yes,
I'm gonna stay quiet. My mother has me. So
right.
Oh, my baby.
What? So there you were. There you were in the opera.
She'd hand me to other people, right? And then
in the Metropolitan Opera.
No, this beginning it was at the Amato Opera, this adorable little place that had been a movie theater on Bleecker Street.
Yeah.
And it was homegrown opera. My mother would go and study a Traviata or Tosca and all. You went there to study a role, and then Tony and Sally would actually cast you.
They were the people that ran it. Yeah,
they were the Amatos of Amato Opera, and then they would sell tickets, and you'd see these performers. So it was sort of off Broadway.
I love it. I mean,
that's what we did.
no one knows about this. Well, I never heard of that Metropolitan. Of course, we've all heard of, but this little opera house, and there you were. Your mom bringing you to work, and
my dad lighting.
Yeah,
doing the
your dad
lighting.
did the lighting, and she's growing up in this environment. But it seems you had your big break at 4.
I had a huge break. It was time for me to be the baby in Madame Butterfly. I love
it.
I could walk. Therefore,
Right.
put me
Yeah.
in
Oh,
a
come on, Donna. It
kimono.
was nepotism, you know? You were
You're
the
right.
only choice. They didn't audition any other kids.
You were out of the way.
Yeah.
I killed the other kid. Get out of here. Get out of here. Take your diaper and leave. So, yes, they put me in a kimono and little jewels in my hair because my father was a rich American and my mother was a Japanese courtesan, you know. And I toddled on stage and Butterfly held me and sang to me and, you know, and I was a star.
And you were a
Oh
star,
my
but I mean, you're throwing this out there like it's so totally normal. There are children. I mean, I think even my own daughter would have hit that stage and like gone, you know, at the lights and the people, and
wasn't allowed.
Yeah.
wasn't
Very
allowed.
simple. Wasn't allowed.
Donna, there'll be no crying.
Wasn't allowed.
Wow.
I
Yeah.
don't think it even occurred to my two parents because they were just so extroverted that they
Mhm.
could possibly have ever birthed a child who would have a shy mom.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It wasn't an
So
option.
I'm an extroverted parent, and it's like, yeah, I
It wasn't an
guilty of
option,
that.
you know? I gave
That's-
birth to you, therefore.
Right.
Yeah,
You're
the child is like, what is all that noise? And mom's like, that's applause. You like that?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
You like that,
Keep
Donna?
smiling. Keep
yes,
smiling,
I do.
darling. Keep smiling.
Wow. So you grew up in the theater.
Oh,
You-
I did. I did. When I was 5 or 6, my mom got a job in the chorus at the Metropolitan Opera, the steady day job.
So that was so this was a big
Nice.
break.
Okay, it was a big break.
So
a
she
very
left
big
the
break.
Amato
She
Theater,
left Amato.
and because she got a break to be with the Metropolitan,
Wow.
even to be in the chorus is like,
Absolutely.
yeah,
It's
no, that's a
amazing.
big. That's a
yeah, that's
very,
a
very
huge
big deal.
thing. She
Mhm.
had to have
Big
quite
deal.
the voice.
She did, and the Met Children's Chorus was taking girls for the first time that year. So
Love it.
I auditioned, and I'd already been singing in the operas, so I got in, and Mommy went to the Met, and Baby went to the Met, and
Wow.
that's where I grew up.
Wow.
Yeah, that's where I
Wow.
grew up. I
In
did
the
operas
in the
there.
opera, which is like, I mean, you're so normal, Donna. Compared, no, because it's like, come on, I love opera. What do I love? I love when the eyebrows are up here. I love the white makeup, the red lips. It is completely over the top, and it's high drama.
What's not to
What's not
love?
to love?
You know,
I live for that kind of stuff.
You talk about those moments when Donna realized that her life wasn't quite, you know.
Yeah.
I had actually an early premonition of this at one point. My
Wow.
father was producing Aida with his friend Vincent LaSelva, Maestro LaSelva, the fully staged operas in the park, in Central Park.
Yeah,
that
when they
did.
started doing
That
those.
was his friend Vinny LaSelva,
Mhm.
and my dad would sometimes direct or whatever. He'd always be there to help Vinny. And I showed up one time. There was the Grand Triumphal March is when, you know, the Egyptians have beaten everyone.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And the prisoners are coming in,
Right.
and they're just parading the prisoners in front of the Pharaoh. And the Pharaoh's like, yep, you're my slave. Slave,
Yeah.
slave,
Slave.
slave, more slaves. Okay, so I showed up to see the opera, okay, and I had a date. I think I was 16 years old, okay, and my father saw me and I said, "Oh, hi, Dad," you know, and this is whatever the heck his name
You don't
was.
even remember anymore. He had to be so
Was,
mediocre compared to the
so-
world you were living in.
My
Poor
father
kid.
said, "Oh, hi, nice to meet you, John," you know, and then he turned to me and said, I need the sex slave." I said, "What?"
Love it. 16 years
What?
old.
What?
Yes.
There was a
Yes.
girl, and it had to be a small girl. At the Met, it was the ballerinas, but I'm not big. So
Yeah.
there was a girl that you had to put in a jeweled bikini who then had to climb on a pan. It was basically a cooking pan and
And they
spray
were-
painted gold.
And they were short
And
one
they
sex
show-
slave.
right. And they carry you into the Pharaoh. and
Oh,
the
I
Pharaoh-
love this.
and
This
the
is
Pharaoh-
so great. Tim and I both want that role. We both like going up to that role.
Oh, hi, it's me. Hi.
Oh,
you know,
was
and
this
the
like your
Pharaoh.
first date with this guy?
And the last. You know that didn't fly.
So it's like, Dad, I'm on a
So you're
date.
on this
He said, oh,
platter.
it'll take 10 minutes. John, it'll take 10 minutes. I'm like, thank you, Dad. So I had to get backstage. I had to get undressed. I had to put on a jeweled bikini. This is on my date, right? And then I have to climb
I've had
on
dates
the-
like that too.
And you never saw them again, Tim, did you?
Right.
It was the jewel
Jewel
bikini
bikini.
was the deal
I don't
breaker.
think he had the cut juice. That's what I said. Did I say that? I'm
You know
sorry.
what? You can't have everything, okay?
Sorry, Tim.
Nobody can have everything, Donna. It's pick and choose in this world.
Right. So, you know, I got carried on stage. The Pharaoh said, yeah, I'll have her later. Sex slave over there. And that was it. I got dressed and my date was gone.
And that was it.
That
Never
was the end.
He didn't call. He didn't write. That was
He
it.
never even bought you.
Best jewelry.
Right. That was the ultimate, wasn't it? You were for sale and he didn't care.
What's wrong with this?
What it,
So I was going to sleep
incredible.
with the Pharaoh. What's your problem?
Yeah.
10 minutes. 10 minutes. It's over.
Incredible story. Now you got to meet Leonard Bernstein too.
Oh, I worked with him.
You
Wow.
did. Well, what was that like?
He was gorgeous. He was
Gorgeous,
so
gorgeous,
handsome in
totally
person.
handsome,
Like,
gorgeous
oh,
man.
boy. He was very dramatic. You know what? You never.
Like how?
You had to well, when you were on stage, you had to watch the conductor, like
Mhm.
you know, the baton, like it was the eye of God, because it was. You're
Mhm.
watching, and some of them were, you know, it was like you were paying them for you know, they weren't good. They were going to have to pay more if they used their gestures.
Mhm.
Like, can I see the downbeat, please?
Yeah.
Is there a downbeat? Is there a downbeat? You never
Yeah, 'cause you
worried
could
about
miss your
that with
cue
Leonard.
if-
Oh,
yeah.
with Leonard, it was. You know,
Wow.
Wow.
I think he must have lost 10 pounds a show.
Oh.
Really.
Sweating it
knew
off.
when
right?
Bernstein wanted you to come in. You knew when he wanted you to go lower.
Wow.
You know, you knew.
That's a master.
He was very, very
Wow.
wonderful.
Uh-huh.
And amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Admired him.
you were how old when you had to perform with him?
Maybe 8.
Was it
9.
was it scary? Somebody like that can be really daunting to a child.
Well, like I didn't know the difference.
Ah,
You know,
right,
again,
right.
I was a Met Opera baby, so
Uh-huh.
you know, I
was
didn't.
a bit up.
But I mean, it was normal. Like Auntie Mame was normal. It was,
Uh-huh.
Wow,
you know.
wow. Your stories are so incredible. So I'm going to go down a slightly darker path because I'm me. So, but you wrote it in the book, so that's why I'll bring it up. Your father said, "Donna, I wish you had never been born."
He
Oh.
did. Yes, he
Oh.
did.
Yeah.
Well, you know, the downside of the bohemian dream is that the bohemian dream
Bohemian
doesn't
dream.
always go with parenthood
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
kids
right, of
screaming
course.
and I need, you know,
Well,
I
a
need
child
things like
is-
regular meals and,
Right.
you know, and the boho lifestyle.
I fed my daughter
Yeah.
lean cuisines to this day. No, I'm fessing up right here on this show. And I do feel to this day, she finally at like 7, she said, I'm not eating these anymore. But I fed my daughter lean cuisines for all that. Okay, go
Well,
on.
that-
But I mean, a child is a huge responsibility and
yes.
life changing,
Right,
and you have to
yes.
dedicate your time and your life and your money to that child.
And when you're a performer,
And-
it is about
yes,
you,
right,
right?
Yes.
right.
It has to
Right,
be.
it
So,
is. So they were conflicted, you know,
Right.
because they had
oh, but that's
been,
such
they
a
were
terrible
30.
thing to say.
Well,
Oh, goodness.
it is. You know, it is. But again, the theme is spinning the straw into gold.
right.
Mhm.
They were amazing human beings,
Right.
even
Mhm.
if as parents they left a whole lot to be desired. And that drove me further into the arms of Auntie Mame.
Mhm.
Interesting.
Right.
Jack
You're
and
right.
Madeline
Spinning the gold.
Guilford, and, you know,
Donna, spinning the gold.
I
get it.
found acceptance in the arms of the neighbors. That
Mhm.
it was amazing.
And
Formed
also,
much stronger bonds than I would have.
in defense of creative parents, because both my husband and I are, like your dad said that, but he did. You're
He
his
did,
daughter. He loved you.
absolutely,
He loved
He
me.
loved
absolutely.
Oh, no,
you,
he did.
and
Yeah.
He did.
and the thing
but-
is, when creative parents often are under pressure because they are out of the box.
right.
Mhm.
Yeah. Tim brought it up. You know, you're dealing with the responsibility. I told Tim I got a car. He said, "Oh my God, that's so much responsibility." But this is our
Yeah.
reaction. And they had this child, and they had these careers, and we all know, even though it seems like they worked all the time, it's still up and down. And
It's
ultimately,
very
your
up
dad
and
ended up
down.
having to take a regular
Yeah,
job, and
he
that's
did.
always like
Ugh.
looming in the
It was
background. Oh my God, I might have
exile.
to take a regular job. So
Yeah.
in defense of them, they loved you. They did the best
Oh,
they
Well,
could.
they,
absolutely.
you know, they
Yeah.
did. They
Yeah.
loved me. They loved me, but they were torn because it didn't, as you said, it didn't go with the
Right.
artistic envisionment of freedom.
Right.
You know, they lost their freedom. A child is a responsibility.
Well, and of course, when people are big celebrities, this always blew me away. You know, they would tout Angela Jolie as such a great parent. I'm not saying she is or she isn't, but when she was on set making all those films all the time with a gazillion kids, those kids were with nannies. Let's put, and so many celebrities, if you're out making a film and you're on set 12 hours a day, you're not taking, you think your little kid is not sitting there waiting for mommy to finish a take.
No.
That's not happening.
Right.
So in that case, those people have, you know, they've had to hand their kids off to the nanny.
Absolutely.
You know,
Or Auntie Mame.
or Auntie Mame, right?
Yeah.
But I love, you know what? I love their choice of the people that they surrounded their daughter with. I think because they made you who you are.
You know, the straw into gold is that the other side of them is everyone was welcome in our house.
Nice.
I also didn't know that being gay was strange. I didn't know that any ethnicity, any color, I didn't know the difference because everyone walked in our home and everyone was treated well. Okay. So I had gay babysitters. I didn't know the difference. You know, I didn't care.
Yeah.
If I loved you, I loved you. I just didn't give a damn. So the other side of it is they really opened the world to me.
Absolutely. Everybody should grow up on Bank Street.
I grew up on Strong Street in the Bronx. I should have been born on Bank Street.
You were spiritual. You were.
There you go. Now
there.
you brought a bunch of pictures for us today too.
I did.
Yeah, I'd love to see some of the.
Well, we're going to take a look at those, but you're watching If These Walls Could Talk with your hosts, Wendy Stuart and Tym Moss, and our glorious, wonderful guest, Donna Florio.
It's our first live guest. Yay!
Here I am, number one.
Here at PANGEA. Yeah, so let's take a look at some photos here. And I can't see that.
Yes, I know who that is. Okay.
I'm going to enlarge that. Hold on.
That is.
Tim, you know how to do
that?
That
is Elizabeth Irwin and Catherine Anthony. And to speak to how way ahead of its time Bank Street was. 100 years ago, in 1919, those two women openly moved to 23 Bank Street together.
Wow.
Adopted two daughters.
They were lovers.
And openly.
Right.
No, they did not trouble to down the street was Willa Cather and her lover. I don't remember the name, but they were literally about 7.
I mean, it's amazing, Tim, right?
Apart. They lived together. Elizabeth Irwin started the Little Red Schoolhouse and EI High School, Elizabeth Irwin High School. Catherine Anthony wrote biographies of famous women.
Wow.
Okay? Including, and she was related to Susan B. Anthony. So she
like the coin. My gosh.
Yes. Okay. And in the same building, okay, that is Langston Hughes, the poet.
Get out.
Wow.
What a
Very
great
handsome.
In the same building was an illustrator named Prentice Taylor who was partnered with Langston Hughes to produce illustrations of Hughes' poems.
Oh my God.
He hand set them. So all these women, there he is at 63 Bank Street.
So this was 63 Bank Street. Okay.
Excuse me. I'm sorry, 23.
23. My friend Doug lives at 33 Bank Street and you were at
63.
You're 63.
Wow.
And that's Elizabeth Irwin with a student. She was so ahead of her time.
Yeah, oh my God. Look at these
so
pictures.
ahead of her time.
These are amazing.
Yeah, these are great.
So yeah, and she never hid her identification and it wasn't an issue. There's Catherine Anthony. I love that picture.
Wow, that is
want
fabulous.
that
Beautiful.
And now I knew Catherine Anthony as an old lady. Okay, I met her one day when I was coming home from Jackson Library. I had, as usual, I must have been about 8, my thing of books. I would not leave any books. So I'd come staggering down the street and I had my mother with me and Catherine was reading in the front and she said, "What is she reading?" And anyway, my mother let me stay there. Catherine said, "I'll walk her home. I want to talk to her about books."
Wow.
So Catherine Anthony in her 90s was talking about Stuart Little and Charlotte's Web.
Oh, stop.
Seriously. And then
she was
she
still
taught
educating.
me. Yes. And she said to me, always speak your mind, Donna, because she became a friend. Always speak your mind. I didn't know she was Susan B. Anthony's niece. What the hell do I know? You know, always speak your mind. Be yourself.
What a lesson.
And she had fur trim. I don't have fur trim.
I know. Yeah,
that was Tish.
That was Tish. God.
You're still on
My
Tish.
mother.
You couldn't let that go, could you? Who is this?
Now, this is Prentice Taylor. This was the illustrator who
Got
worked with Langston Hughes. And they were,
Okay.
can you
Handsome
imagine?
guy,
So, yes, Prentice lived on one floor and Catherine and Elizabeth lived on another. And
Hmm.
Langston Hughes is coming to call.
Well, I can almost understand, again, just with all of the freedom that was allowed on that street, that it would be a magnet for major artistic minds or creative
a
minds.
magnet,
Yes,
Uh-huh.
it was. It
Yeah.
was. They found a home here. And this is Prentice's illustration for the Scottsboro, the
Scottsboro
Langston-
Boys?
Yes.
Wow.
For Langston
Wow.
Hughes' poem about the Scottsboro Boys.
Isn't
that gorgeous?
Yeah, it's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Oh,
Love her. Who is that?
That is my Rosie Braverman. That Rosie and Marty lived down the block. on
The
75.
Bravermans.
The Bravermans.
The Bravermans.
They had an Alaskan Husky, and I learned to walk on, and I still remember pulling up on King on his fur. I remember pulling
That was a
myself up.
patient dog.
Oh yes, my
Wow.
mother was worried about it, but Roz was like, "It's fine." She was from the Bronx, a nice Bronx girl.
I recognize her as a Bronx girl.
And there's another one, Sid Vicious.
Sid Vicious, yeah.
Who did die in my building. Okay.
Oh my
We
God.
were all
That
the
had to be a
same
circus when that happened. I can
Oh,
only
that would have been, yeah.
I got waylaid at 8:00 in the morning on my way out to get my medicine from my roommate who had the flu, and I had flash bulbs going off in my face. Miss,
Wow.
were you at the party where Sid took his fatal dose? Said he's dead? What do you mean he's dead? That's
So
how I found
disgusting.
on camera that my neighbor
That's
had
so
died.
gross.
So
Right. He
maybe
was your
I had a
neighbor.
reaction. He was
Yeah.
my neighbor. And you know what? He was a sweetheart.
I love
that
hearing
was
that.
it. That was the woman he lived with at the time, Michelle Robinson. She lived in 1A, and
I love
there
that.
he was with Nancy Spungen.
Sid and Nancy.
Now, Nancy,
Nancy-
she OD'd at the Chelsea Hotel,
No, she
or
didn't
what
OD.
happened?
What
Or-
happened was she and Sid had become heroin addicts. He left the Sex Pistols,
Okay.
and they were a mess. They were just in
Right,
meltdown,
right.
living at the Chelsea. And one night, she was found stabbed to death. And he
Right.
was
She was
wandering
murdered,
around,
right.
covered in blood and too high to make sense.
Wow.
He was arrested on suspicion of
death.
the
Uh-huh.
murder. He was never tried. He was never
Right.
convicted.
Uh-huh.
So, in fairness to
Wow.
him, we don't know.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
But he did. He
Amazing
was
photo.
detoxed from heroin on jail, and he came out on bail, and that's when he met Michelle.
Michelle. Wow.
That's the story.
And
wow.
there's Tish Touche.
Oh,
There's Tish. How
beautiful.
fabulous.
He moved in 1957.
just beautiful, fine features. You
Yeah.
know?
I know.
Absolutely
He's
beautiful.
gorgeous.
And knew how to work them.
Yeah,
Oh,
really.
Oh, he owned the block. This is, I call her Kumare Pisciaiol, which in
What does
Italian
that
means
mean?
Madam fellow countryman Italian woman
I love
fish
it.
seller. She's showing off her fish. She had a
Yes.
fish market around the corner.
Oh, wow.
And my
how
mother, the first
wonderful.
generation Italian, would translate her letters from Sicily for her and then
Oh,
write
my
responses. And she would reach into her lobster pot and she'd give us a lobster.
Oh,
But she
sweet.
was
I love
She'd give
that.
us a lobster's payment, but she only gave us the lobsters with a claw missing that she couldn't sell anyway.
Yeah.
So as a child, I
love
never
it.
knew lobsters had two claws.
Wait, you thought it was a uni lobster.
That's hilarious.
That's
Oh,
great.
my gosh. So it was very
Yeah, but also
European.
you got to eat lobster.
Oh,
Yeah.
baby.
There you go.
There's Tish.
Tish
Beautiful,
is
yeah.
fabulous.
There you go,
Tish
Tim.
rocked it. Tish
There
just
you go.
rocked it.
Beautiful. The
Tish
earrings
was
and
no
yeah.
joke.
Yes. Oh, and
Oh,
there,
well, there we are.
there
Yeah,
we
we're
are
back.
again with
Okay.
Elizabeth
You
and
can, yeah, we saw them
Catherine.
again. All right, and their dog.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I
I
think-
still can't believe they actually got away with just
Yeah,
being themselves
right,
Wow.
right.
and being rarely well known.
This is
That's
a great photograph.
My
That's
Auntie
amazing.
Bain.
That's Auntie
Wow.
May.
That's the real
Wow.
one. That's Marion Tanner. She slept on the floor in her
Wow.
attic, okay, in a black sleeping bag. And when I
To
say
make room for
bohemian,
everybody else.
she had
Wow.
owned this place since the 20s. I don't think she fixed one thing. There were literally pigeons flying through this room.
Hmm.
Wow.
Literally.
Wow.
And I can tell you that.
I would love
Okay?
that. Tim, is
Yeah.
this going to happen to me? This is
That's the way I
unbelievable.
remember
And
her.
what number
Wow,
Bank Street
that's
was this?
amazing.
72.
This was 72 Bank Street.
Yes. And there's Tish and I
Wow.
last year.
Oh,
That was
I love that.
so Tish was like late 90s and
Late 90s, about 97, I think. When he
Wow.
died.
wow.
That we know of. He
I
could have
love
been
that you
older.
have I love that you have this picture done of these
Yeah.
relationships your whole life.
lifetime relationships.
And by
They're
writing
so
this
special.
book, you have paid homage to all these
Absolutely.
people. You know,
Absolutely.
you did a
Love
good
them.
thing.
They raised me. And speaking of raising me, you want to have a heart attack? Go see a movie when you're 9 years old
Oh, wait.
about a villager. What? Bring it back.
Where is he?
Okay.
He's good looking.
Yeah.
Bring
I
him
don't think
back.
we can bring him back. But,
Okay.
There he
oh,
is.
yay.
He's good looking.
Go
We want
Chauncey's
him
good.
back.
Go see
I
a,
love
a
Chauncey.
movie about a blind villager being menaced by a homicidal maniac, and it's set 4 blocks from your own house.
Oh,
Wow. Wow.
And then walk
Was
into the Five and Dime right around the corner from your house at one Saturday morning and see the homicidal maniac
Get
who's
Oh.
now moved to Bank Street. It's Alan Arkin in Wait Until
Oh,
Dark.
okay. Wait, I was going to say wait
That's
until
Alan
dark.
Arkin?
Yes, that's Alan
Wow.
Oh my
Arkin.
God, what a looker. I
Oh,
had no
yeah.
idea.
Scare you to death.
Wow. Wow. From Wait
That was
Until
how
Dark.
I first saw the movie, and then that's how I met him 3 days later. The poor
I
guy,
bet-
I ran.
I bet that was a huge compliment to him.
He probably
Amazing.
loved it.
Absolutely.
That was like so
That was
amazing.
amazing.
What a life you've had.
I'm trying to
you know?
find.
I just
Oh, there we go.
had fun, you know?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
enjoyed it.
Well, and again,
I
and
wanna share it
not
with you.
realizing the intensity or the scale of
right.
what you were exposed to on Bank Street.
No
Right.
idea.
Now,
at
also
the
on Bank
time.
Street, one thing I want to mention:
Yes.
White Horse, the White
Oh,
Horse,
the White Horse Tavern. I love that place.
right? Oh my God,
What history?
is that still there? I'm
It's
hoping it
still
survived.
there.
Good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because they just sold it, I believe, or something.
Yeah,
because
it
that was
has
scaring
changed.
me.
Yeah, no, it scared all of
I
us.
Yeah,
I read
yeah.
that too. I know.
We love our White
It's a
Horse.
landmark.
No, it's been sold. Knock wood. Not good. It's doing fine. You know,
Mhm.
that little back room, you know how you walk in and then you make a left?
The left,
that little
yeah.
room?
Uh-huh.
That room, when that place first started a couple hundred years ago, was a private, neutral place for the gangs of New York to meet.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Wow,
Yeah.
it was a
Interesting.
quiet room when you just worked out your differences.
Yeah, it was off
and,
limits.
what a
you know,
great
Yeah.
idea too.
That's
You
so
know,
cool.
back in the day. I've heard it's haunted, the White Horse Tavern.
I've heard it
It-
too. I've
it
never
seems-
seen.
it feels
I've
like
never
it might
seen
be,
it.
It yeah. does.
Yeah, if any place is going to be haunted.
And that's
it's
also
there.
right up the block. I had Michael Musto took me out for brunch today for my
your
birthday. A couple hours ago. And he mentioned, I was telling him we were going to be interviewing you. And he said, oh, yeah, he says he studied HB at HB
Oh yeah,
Studios.
so did I. Yeah,
which
I went
was
to
on-
HB
yeah.
Studios. Yeah,
HB Studios.
it was my
Fabulous.
first
Studying
Okay.
acting on Bank Street.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, Lee Strasberg. He fled the Nazis, and
Wow.
he
Yeah,
found
no-
he found a refuge in America. And his way of saying thank you was to start that amazing HB studio,
Wow.
with
which is
Uta
still
Hagen.
going. Uta
And-
Hagen.
Yes, and give
yeah.
us affordable acting lessons.
That's where
Mhm.
I went there for a couple of years when I first came to New York, and I had
Mhm.
wonderful teachers like Bill Hickey.
Oh,
Yeah, Bill
Yeah,
Hickey,
you
right,
remember
yeah.
Bill Hickey?
Yeah.
He would teach class with a little. This is a good New York story. He always had a little teacup that he was drinking out of, and I thought, oh, how nice! You know, he brings his little cup of tea. Little did I know that little cup of tea had whiskey in it. Right? Great actor, and he was really a wonderful. If you watch, he was like that, and he would critique your scene. He was a wonderful teacher.
Yeah, he would talk
Yeah.
like that. He had that voice.
Yeah,
when he
that,
talked.
that funny voice. Wow, Donna.
Oh, goodness.
So, you know, all of these stories that you've had, you had like a normal part of your life. You went to college and then you came out and you did normal. Listen to
I
me.
did.
You did
Normal.
Normal.
I
Oh my
did
God.
some
things.
some normal
You did
things.
normal
So
yeah.
did you
thing.
find normalcy or supposed normality? Did you find that appealing or attractive in any way?
Oh, are you coloring that question?
No. No, boring.
It was boring, right? Of
Yes,
course, it was boring. I mean,
yes.
look how you came up. you
Well,
know?
I managed to make my peace with it. I got a master's in special education, and I worked with special needs
Wonderful,
children.
Nice.
right?
So that actually took me all over the world,
Mhm.
and That
In
was
Asia.
wonderful.
You worked in-
Southeast Asia. I
Wow.
spent 6 years in
Nice.
Southeast Asia.
I didn't realize
Yeah,
it was 6.
I lived in Thailand.
Wow.
I was.
Nice.
They wanted the American model of special education,
Hmm.
so they hired me to go over
Interesting.
there, and I worked out of one of the Thai universities in Bangkok, and I set up programs.
But
for-
again,
Wow.
straw into gold.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, you went to regular college, you studied special ed is incredible, but you didn't take it here. You took it over there to a totally different culture.
yeah, I did.
Wow.
I did, and they were wonderful. Because up till then they had only had programs for the blind, and those had been started by missionaries.
Wow.
So
Mm.
one of the late king's daughters really wanted to help children with special needs,
Mhm.
and she patronized it. And
Amazing.
It was amazing. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
At one point, she set up a program for the deaf, and she let us use the actual palace that the wives of the king and King Chulalongkorn,
Uh-huh.
where his wives lived.
Oh my God.
It was unbelievable.
So
It's
you
like
lived in a palace?
well, I didn't live in it.
Yeah, but
I
you were
worked
working.
in it.
You
How
could pretend. I would
fabulous.
pretend that Tim and I would pretend.
Yeah.
we were living there.
Just send my mail over here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All 80 rooms.
I'm
that's
in the
fine.
palace. They
Yes.
finally realized the truth. Thank God.
You would have moved in.
I would have moved in. You better believe it. Wow. Wow. Really, really amazing. So you got married.
I did a couple of
Couple of
times.
times. You were
Yeah.
married
Well,
a couple
If
of
at first
times.
you don't succeed.
Yeah.
Yeah. But now you still have that apartment. Or do you-
Yes, my life comes and goes. And
Yeah.
63
I
Bank
love
Street
it.
to be
You-
stays.
Uh-huh.
Right.
That is
your
my
life comes in.
constant.
But you also is it Pennsylvania?
Oh, I have a
Pennsylvania?
weekend house.
Oh, a
Yes.
weekend house.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just a weekend house.
Because that would be
That's it.
nice. Again, just step away, breathe.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
what it is.
right?
Step
Yeah.
away, breathe.
Tim came to visit
Yes.
me last year, and we
And,
did breathe.
Yeah,
It's
I
really
stepped
great.
away and breathed.
Yeah,
That was
and we
nice.
should all get together out in PA. You're about
Absolutely.
55 minutes from where I
Sure.
am. It's great.
Sweet.
Sure. That would
And
be
yeah, that
great.
would really be
Love to.
super. It's funny what people evolve to eventually. Now, the pandemic for you, I always have to ask people this because it's been life altering for me.
Mhm.
And I like to find out everyone's perception, especially creative people. Like, how do we get through this? How do we do this dance?
Well, I certainly have a connection to the pandemic. My
Mhm.
my husband was the head of HIV/AIDS inpatient service at Sinai.
Which are,
And
Yeah,
that's
and
how
I'm
we
so
got to
sorry.
the
Yeah.
that's how we got the house in the country, just to get us away on the weekends.
yeah,
Mhm.
well,
He
which
just
you
had
had
to.
to do.
He didn't want to talk to any more fellow doctors. He wanted to talk to
Right.
tomatoes. That's it.
Right.
Yeah,
Just,
right.
If you earned a tomato, we didn't want to.
Those
And-
are
and-
shade
that's
plants,
it.
Tim.
And maybe-
I talked
yeah.
Tim about
Tomatoes
shade
only.
plants.
Yeah, or maybe
So-
maybe talk to a deer that passes
Yes.
through, or yeah.
Yes. So that's how we got it. And he finally retired. We were traveling, and he developed cancer. So we had a couple of years of cancer treatments and very complicated story. And ultimately, a year and actually 14 months ago now, he was one of the first COVID
Oh,
victims.
I'm so
He went.
And
sorry.
this is like,
Thank
yeah,
you.
me
Mm.
too. Oh,
Mm.
hug.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
My
you know,
goodness.
The book was supposed to come out 2 years ago, and it had
Mhm.
I'd just been signed by NYU Press, and he got sick, and I called him and said, "Hey, I'm
No,
sorry,
yeah.
you can
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 do.
cancel or whatever, but I have a family to take care of,
Mhm.
and that's where I'll be."
Yeah.
But this book,
I did.
okay, is supposed to be living its life now. That's what
And
that's
it
what
was
happens,
meant
no
to be.
doubt.
Yeah.
And he was so proud of it. He was so pleased.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, of course
So-
he was, and he got to see you write this book,
He
which
did.
is really
He did.
great.
He
Donna.
supported it. He absolutely loved it. He said, "This is what you want to do.
Right.
Mhm.
Quit your day job, honey, and go write that book." And that's what he gave
And you
me.
quit your day job,
And I did.
and you wrote this book, which is a tribute not only to him, he was behind you,
Mhm.
but to all the people that are in this book.
It's
Yeah.
amazing.
It's my love
Amazing
letter.
tribute.
It's my
Yeah.
love letter to the people that
Mhm.
raised me, that
Yeah.
that taught me to live an open life with an open heart.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Where
And now, what did Auntie Mame say to you that
That
you're the
I
light?
am a divine flame from the universe.
Beautiful.
I love that.
Donna
was-
And
Florio.
you are.
divine flame from the universe,
Yes,
as said by
absolutely.
Auntie Mame. What are you thinking about your next steps in life now?
Oh, my
Well-
next steps in life. I'm not sure. I love traveling. I'm going to, as soon as that
Yeah,
we three have been vaccinated. As soon as more people have been
and
vaccinated,
it gets more normal.
yes,
Yeah.
I want to travel again. I might want to work with some special needs children again, perhaps in
You
this
have so many
country,
gifts,
abroad. I'm
Donna.
not
Yeah.
So many
Yeah.
I'm
gifts.
feeling drawn back to it. I'm
Right.
feeling drawn to
Well,
it
again,
So
just
I'm not
follow your
sure.
heart.
That's,
Your heart
that's
will always
what Bank
lead you.
Street taught me
Yes.
to do.
Yes.
Yes.
Follow your
Mhm.
heart.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And because the thing is that most people don't realize is your heart is telling you how to be yourself.
Right.
And what will bring you joy. But so often we allow the people around us to dictate and tell us, which leads us down the wrong path. It's very important to listen to your heart and to follow that small little voice inside that'll tell you where to go and what to do.
That takes trusting
Absolutely
in
right.
yourself
Mhm,
and in
right.
your instincts, which is, and we've talked about this. That's something I really had to learn. I listen now to that inner voice before anything else. And
Mhm.
sometimes that's not everybody's cup of tea, but
Mhm.
it doesn't have to be. It only has
No.
to be your tea.
Yeah,
Yeah, right,
exactly.
right.
Yeah.
Exactly. You're the one being led, and if you learn to listen to yourself,
Right.
that's the life you're supposed to lead.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
And how glorious it was that you had a whole community that was
Yeah,
supporting
Tim,
that
right?
philosophy or that concept. That's wonderful.
People came to Bank Street because they were passionate about social activism,
Right.
about politics. We had Bella Abzug, okay?
Bella, yeah.
Bella.
She wasn't everybody's cup
Bella.
of tea,
Mhm.
Bella.
No,
A little,
she
little
and my father.
aggressive.
She and my
They
father.
like horns.
Oh, ooh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Or they were passionate about, loving the person that they wanted to love,
Right.
Mhm.
But they came and they found a haven
I love
Yeah.
it.
on
Yeah.
Bank Street. They
Yeah.
found a clan of their own heart.
Right.
We came to Bank Street and we formed our own clans.
Uh-huh.
our own
Well, now
families.
also there was was it a Russian spy?
Oh my God.
Yeah, oh my God. Yeah. The whole thing
Do
with
you,
the
you want to talk
FBI.
about that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. I want. Thank you, Tim. Yes, definitely.
Lightning round.
Yeah.
Lightning round. Bam.
Russian spy.
Yeah.
FBI.
There's Mrs. Swanson, the vaudeville dancer in apartment 2A to our 2B, okay, always said in the 40s, there was the biggest communist in America living right underneath me. And the FBI was spying from my house. They used my house. So when after 9/11, when I was trying to get out of my own head, the first place I went was Mrs. Swanson's story. And I called my parents who had moved out of the village by then. I said, am I crazy or did she always insist there were commies in the village? Oh, she went
Mrs.
on
Swanson and
about
those
the commies.
communists.
Oh, the commies coming. That led
commies,
me to
right.
discovering Earl Browder, who was the head of the American Communist Party from the 20s through the end of the 50s. That led to discovering that his brother, William Browder, and his wife, Olive, were living downstairs under assumed names, which is why I couldn't find them in the census records. They came in under fake names.
You went and looked.
Oh, I have 12
Donna does her
pounds.
investigation.
Donna has 12 pounds of redacted FBI files
Stop.
from 1940 to 44, proving that Mrs. Swanson, the vaudeville dancer, actually did have commies downstairs from her, and the FBI was spying. And not only were they communists, which is fine, perfectly legal, but they were running a Russian espionage ring, the biggest in
Love
America.
it. Oh my God.
Right out of that apartment, right as the FBI was looking, as the FBI was watching. And J. Edgar Hoover knew it. He knew they were dirty, and that's why he was spying on them. FDR, President Roosevelt, kept pardoning them and getting up because he wanted, it was World War II, he wanted a direct line to Stalin. So,
but I love this. A direct line to
Stalin
Helen starting like
on
a
Bank Street.
Right. Donna, these stories are like.
And I mean, the story goes like this and this.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
Oh,
this.
I
yeah.
You have to
imagine.
read it. That one you have to really
Oh, my
read when it
goodness.
goes twist, plot, twist. I mean,
Wow.
people went to the Lenin School of Espionage in the 1930s in
Wow.
Moscow, and they were living downstairs from me. You know?
Wow.
Graduates of, you've heard of ABC Beauty School.
Yeah,
How about
right.
Lenin Espionage
Yeah.
School?
Well, speaking of Lennon, didn't John Lennon
There you
and
go.
Yoko?
Yeah.
John and Yoko lived at 105 Bank before
Wow.
they moved to the Dakota.
Wow.
And speaking of the FBI, we had a lot of the FBI.
Yeah, really.
The FBI, they love Bank Street. they were, at the time, John and Yoko, neither of whom were U.S. citizens,
Mhm.
were being outspoken. This is in the late 60s.
I remember,
right.
yeah.
About anti-Vietnam.
Yeah,
Yeah.
politically,
Yeah.
they were very politically outspoken.
Very.
Yeah.
And the FBI wanted to get them both deported. So they were spying on them.
Oh my God, there was
And
so
they
much
were
spying on
tapping their
Bank Street.
phone.
My
John
goodness.
John Cage, the composer, and his lover Merce Cunningham, the dancer,
Mhm.
lived next door to
Wow.
John and Yoko, and they would go and use John and Merce's telephone because the FBI was tapping their phone. So
Oh
they
my
go next door. You're a Beatle, and you can't
Oh
use
my
your own damn phone.
I
It's
love
a bad
it.
day.
It's a bad day for a Beatle. I love that. You're right.
You know, everybody was equal on Bank
Oh
Street.
my goodness.
Yeah,
Oh.
well, listen to what you just said. That was a pearl. Everybody was equal on
Yeah,
Bank Street.
yeah.
You just brought up
And
something.
I just wish everybody could
Yeah.
grow up with that. That's a wonderful way.
I wish
It's a
it
very
too.
balanced
Right.
way of growing up.
and a
It's
beautiful,
amazing.
beautiful way of growing up.
Absolutely.
So much more.
Donna, I
tolerant.
have to ask you this question. Do you think New York is done?
Absolutely not.
I agree.
Yes. That was the
No.
answer we
Bank
wanted.
Street knows, New York knows. We come back.
We come
Mhm.
back.
This isn't our first quarantine. Think
Right.
of yellow fever,
Right.
Yeah.
okay?
Right.
Think of 1919, okay?
Mhm.
And the influenza epidemic.
Right.
Yeah,
We are so not done. We're a force of the world.
it's not our first
We're forced.
pandemic at the rodeo.
No,
That's right.
Not even our
Then you
second.
tell him, Tim.
Not even our
We're bigger
second.
than that.
Yeah.
We're better than that. We are New York
are.
strong.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. we
Well,
are.
you're watching If These Walls Could Talk, hosted by your host, Wendy Stuart and Tym Moss, and our amazing shining light, our divine
Yeah,
light
you
of the
are.
universe, the fabulous Donna Florio right
Okay,
here.
Thank you.
Yay.
Where can people get your book, Donna?
Okay, well, people can buy it if you want to patronize an indie bookstore like Three Lives on West
Mhm.
10th Street.
I love
please
that
go buy
bookstore.
it. They're
I love it.
wonderful. Okay. Otherwise, you can go on to the NYU Press website and you can order it directly, and they
Mhm.
ship it right out to you.
Fabulous.
It is available also in Barnes and Noble.
Oh,
Mhm.
great.
Yeah.
Great. And you have a website where people can read about you.
DonnaFlorio.com has stories. I'm on Facebook as Donna Florio author.
Oh, look, there it is. I love when this happens. It's like magic. I love Chauncey. Chauncey, thank you. This is
Chauncey,
so
our
great.
producer, is amazing.
He's like
great.
so amazing. I
Why,
would be
thank
so
you.
lost without him. There it is. For more information, DonnaFlorio.com. And yeah, there's a lot of good articles and interviews on your website. I went to it. So
Thank you.
I love finding out more about you, and, keep doing what you're doing.
Thank
Spread
you.
the word out there. Where we are today, PANGEA is the same thing that you're about. We embellish New York. We empower the artists. All right. That's what makes
Celebrate.
it. We celebrate.
We're
them.
special and we celebrate it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
we're not
right.
apologetic about it
Right.
at all.
Yep.
Right.
It's just wonderful. We are New York.
We are New
Absolutely.
We
York.
are New York.
Thank you, Donna Florio.
Donna,
Thank
this was
you.
absolutely
Yeah.
wonderful. You are a
Thank
true
you.
delight.
Yeah,
It was a
absolutely.
pleasure.
Ray
It
of
was
light.
a pleasure. Thank you. For
Thank you,
having me.
everybody.
Thank you.